Now we will learn about the requisites of the laser in detail. Pumping. So pumping is nothing but the act of excitation of atoms from lower to higher energy state is called pumping. There are various types of pumping depending upon the nature of the medium. For example, electric discharges, flash lamps, arc lamps and chemical reactions. The type of pump sources mainly depends on the gain medium. For example, you can take the helium neon laser which uses an electrical discharge in the helium neon gas mixture. Lasing action, the next requisite is it is the process in which the stimulated emissions occur once the population inversion is achieved. And the last one is active medium, in which the name itself is active, means it is a medium whose quantum energy levels lie between pumping and lasing action. All the cycle of events, whether population inversion or pumping, in order to occur the cycle of events, we require one medium, that is nothing but active medium. So next requisite is population inversion. So this population inversion means inversion of the population condition. According to the Boltzmann factor, we know that the relation between two energy levels N1 by N2 is equal to e to the power h nu by kt. But it is in such a state in which the inversion of the condition will be achieved. Let us try to understand this. So we will take three energy levels E1, E2, E3, in which N1, N2, N3 are the number of atoms present in each energy level. So when I supply the energy, the atoms which are present in the E1 state absorb the energy and make excitation directly to the E3 state. E3 state is the metastable state in which E3 state is the highest excited state in which the lifetime of an atom is very short. So atoms quickly make the transitions from E3 to E2. So whereas E2 is a metastable state in which the lifetime of an atom is quite big or large than the normal excited state. That is of the order of 10 power minus 3 to minus 2 seconds. Later, that much time the atom spends in the E2 state and make the transition to the E1 state. So the cycle of events happens continuously as we are supplying the energy also continuously. So E1 to E3 and E3 to E2 are the quick actions, whereas E2 to E1 is a slow process. So by the time the atoms reach E2 to E1, the E1 to E3 and E3 to E2, the number of accumulation or the number density of atoms will be large when compared to the ground state. So at one particular condition, number of atoms, that is N2, will be greater than N1. So that condition we are calling it as population inversion. So N2 by N1 is equal to e to the power minus h nu by kt. This is the inversion of the population or population inversion means. Next we are going to learn about the Einstein's coefficients. So to understand this Einstein's coefficients, first we need to consider a system in which the simplest state is E1 and E2 state. Two energy levels we are considering, and we are supplying the continuous supply of energy in the form of photons. Energy of each photon is h nu, such that frequency of radiation is mu is equal to E2 minus E1 by h. So N1 and N2 are the number density of these two energy levels. So first, when I supply the energy continuously, what is the energy density possessed by this system is U mu. U mu and d mu is the small intermediate energy level, that is the difference in the frequency. So when I supply the energy continuously, the atoms which are present in the E1 state absorb energy and make transition to the E2 state. So this is called induced absorption. Similarly, after reaching the atom in the excited state, the atoms make a quick transition voluntarily without the help of external energy, and emitted energy will be in the form of photons, that is spontaneous emission. Similarly, stimulated emission is that when the atom reaches in the E2 state and at that instant when we supply the energy, with the help of that energy, the atom which is called in the excited state, if it is in the metastable state, then it voluntarily doesn't make a transition. With the help of the another external energy, the atom gains energy and makes a transition. The emitted photon will be in phase with that of the incident photon. So this kind of emission we call it as stimulated emission. So let us discuss one by one each case. If I start with the induced absorption, rate of induced absorption is nothing but how many number of transitions are made by the atom from E1 to E2 state. It is nothing but N1 number of atoms, and moreover with the help of external energy the transition is happening, therefore it is U mu, energy density U mu will come into picture. So if I remove this proportionality, I will get a constant that is nothing but B12, which is one of the Einstein's coefficient of induced absorption. So 1, 2 indicates from first state to the second state. N1 is the number of atoms present in the E1 state, and U mu is the energy density. So an atom in energy level E2 can decay to E1 by emitting photon. So let us call that emitted photon the constant as A21 per unit time for spontaneous emission. So number of spontaneous emissions happen will be N2, and it is not depending upon any external energy, so there won't comes any energy density factor. So I can write the rate of spontaneous emission as N2A21. Similarly, when the atom is in the excited state, with the help of external energy, the atom is making a transition from E2 to E1 state. So then with the help of external energy when I am using, then I can call it as rate of stimulated emission, which can be written as N2 B21 U mu. It is nothing but N2 number of atoms are making the transition with the proportionality constant second to first excited state and with the help of external energy U mu. So I can write it as N2 B21 U mu. Similarly, for induced absorption I can write spontaneous absorption I can write it as number of stimulated upward transitions per second, I can write it as N1 B12 U mu. So these are all the possibilities that can occur when I supply a continuous supply of energy to a system. Now under thermal equilibrium conditions, both the rate of absorption should be matched by the rate of emission. Rate of emission is again two kinds, rate of spontaneous emission and stimulated emission, which is equal to rate of absorption. That is N2 A21 plus N2 B21 U mu is equal to N1 B12 U mu. Next we can see the continuous derivation here. I am pulling out the U mu from both these terms such that B12 N1 minus B21 N2 U mu is equal to A21 N2. Such that I want the expression for the energy density. So U mu is equal to A21 N2 by B12 N1 minus B21 N2. Now divide the entire numerator and denominator with the factor B21 N2. Then we will get A21 by B21, N2 and N2 will get cancelled. Then B12 by B21, N1 by N2 minus 1. So from the Boltzmann factor, we know N1 by N2 is equal to e power h nu by kT. Then we want N1 by N2 relation such that I can use the reciprocal of this relation and I am substituting instead of N1 by N2 such that U mu is equal to A21 by B12 B21 into B12 by B21 into e power h nu by kT minus 1. So let us now take out simplify this term as A21 by B21 into 1 by B12 by B21 into e power h nu by kT minus 1. So this equation, let us compare this equation 7 and we know the Planck's equation also. What is the Planck's energy density? 8 by h nu cube by c cube b let us say 1 by e power h nu by kT. So if we compare both those equations, we will get A21 by B21 is equal to this constant and B12 by B21 is equal to 1. So comparing these two equations. So then we can make the relation as, since B12 by B21 is equal to 1, B12 is equal to B21. So there is no difference between 1 to 1 to 1. Therefore, I can write it as the energy density expression as U mu is equal to A by B into e power h nu by kT minus 1. So this is the required final expression for the energy density in terms of Einstein coefficients, where A and B are the Einstein coefficients. So this is a derivation